for another episode of Get a Load of This from the Silver Creek Studios. I am Jared, and today we have a special guest.
Hey now, this is Bill. How's everything going? Yes.
So Bill's a buddy of mine, brother-in-law. We'll go there.
Yeah.
Father of my nephew and niece. Good friend. So we have him in the studio today because Ryan and Joe could not be with us. So we figured rather than take the week off, we would wing it and get a guest in here and hang out. So, how's it going?
It's going. I mean, I don't know if I can fill the shoes of Joe and Ryan.
You got to start rapping.
Yeah. I mean, I could do some rap, but I don't want to get on his territory and screw him up and have him all jealous and stuff. And so, I've listened to it. I've listened to the podcast.
He's a listener. He's a fan.
I am. There's some things I could criticize, and obviously you'll have that.
We'll cut that out. We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
So you went to Atlanta recently for baseball, right?
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah?
Watching.
It was like one of those legit big tournaments, right?
I got there late, so I didn't get to go to the big tournament stage. I got to watch it from a cheap high school.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get to see anything cool.
Huh. So they moved you guys to crappier fields?
Well, when they lose games, they don't get to play under the showcase, so unfortunately Tyson didn't get to do what I expected him to do.
Yeah.
They won. They were 4-3, so it wasn't a bad tournament.
Those are the best of the best down there.
Yeah. So
tough to win those tournaments.
Good teams they played.
Yeah.
I spent most of my time in a dirty field and a car and a hotel.
Did he have a good time?
Tyson always has a good time, and I'm a chauffeur, so I have a good time all the time.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to make me mad, so it was fun. Was it worth vacation days? I don't think so, but
yeah, well, that's the thing.
When I get older, I'll look back and say that was worth it.
We just had maybe our last baseball game ever. Our son played his Summer Legion League, and they wrapped up their season, and as far as I know, right now, he's not playing any more ball.
Yeah, but he may change.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know.
Baseball is a feeling. You can't just play in the backyard. And now, granted, he has kids right away. You got to watch out for that.
Have kids right away. Jesus.
And then he'll be playing in the backyard and teaching him how not to play ball.
Well, speaking of backyard, so it's summertime. I know you're big into grilling. I'm into grilling.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought we would talk a little bit of
competition.
Yeah.
Well, man products and
yeah. Well, one of the big things you got recently that you're very proud of and I'm very jealous of is your Traeger pellet grill.
Yes.
Tell us, what is a Traeger? Everybody's heard the name Traeger probably, but
most people probably know, and most people either hate it or they love it. They hate it probably because they hate it because it's expensive.
Well, it is expensive.
It's not quite as the taste that they're used to on a charcoal grill when they douse it down with a gallon of lighter fluid. But at the same time, pellets start the grill. You flip a switch, you set the temperature, and you go from there. So is it lazy man's way of cooking? Yeah, but the taste is far superior.
And it allows you to smoke easily for a long period of time at a consistent temperature.
Right. You set the temperature and it goes, and it's got thermometers in it just like everybody else uses, but it's built in.
So you're dealing with, when you say pellets, wood pellets made of real wood that's kind of compressed into these little,
pellets,
pea-sized pellets or whatever.
Looks like rabbit turds.
I was going to say rabbit turds. But you can get them in all kinds of flavors, right?
You can get them in hickory. You can get them in, there's one called Big Game, which has got a lot of flavor. It's got rosemary infused in it. Yeah, any flavor you want.
Think. Cherry, any kind of tree, cherry, whatever.
Yeah. Or if you want it no flavor at all, you get alder, which is basically heat. It heats it up.
And so there's a computer keeping track of the temperature, and it feeds that auger, feeds those pellets into the flame.
Right. And then you got your fans who hate it as well with the green egg because that is a consistent cook as well.
Right.
I'm not a fan of it because I think I might as well buy a Weber grill, which I'm sure you'll lead into in a minute. But because of the price, I would probably go with a Weber over a green egg. Green egg has a great, warranty, because it's a lifetime warranty on it. but you're talking 15 after you buy accessories.
Now that would
everybody
be different than, it's not just a kettle grill. Like that's a ceramic, insulated monster. That thing, they're expensive for a reason. It's different than just a Weber
Their lifetime
kettle.
warranty on that egg.
Yeah.
If it gets a crack in it, if something happens to it. Now, granted, minor things on it,
Yeah.
it's not warranted, but...
And I do think Weber does have a line of those really expensive type of grills. But,
Right.
yeah.
But the Traeger,
yeah.
in my opinion, is the best way to go. I mean, it's cheaper than it can be more expensive than a green egg, but for the most part, no, I think it's to me, it's a superior product. And
still, it's quite a bit more than buying a gas grill or a charcoal grill.
It is, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah, they are nice. I've looked into them. They do have a good warranty. They seem to have a good service reputation. They seem like they're made really well. They got some nice features. But man, it's a lot to spend on something.
Yeah, but when you can sit back and basically gauge your food on how many beers you've had,
yeah,
that's pretty much how it goes. Burgers, you don't flip.
Yeah.
You don't flip any of the food, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You just basically put it on there. The biggest part about any barbecue, and I don't care if you're using a little Weber kettle grill, to the biggest thing, it's all about the seasoning and the prep.
Yeah.
Once you get the prep work done, then you either want to be non-lazy, which is the Traeger, or you want to get right into it and have to manually adjust it all the time.
So I looked at, I think we talked about on one of the recent episodes, I did get I got a new Weber grill, kind of the premium model or whatever with some of the extra features and stuff. But I was looking at the Pit Boss pellet grill, which is very similar to a Traeger. In fact, I think
it's a copycat.
Yeah, and I think we were talking a little bit before. Traeger had, some patents on some of these designs, and I guess their patents ran out, and so a bunch of companies stepped in and now can get away with making basically the same thing. Now it's cheap; it's a little cheaper made. It's a lot, half the price, but it can do the same thing. And I was really close to buying one. The warranty wasn't quite good enough on it, and that was my big drawback, was only having a 1-year warranty on something that's got electronics and motors.
And that's the thing. It's like anything out there. If it's like Beats headphones, for instance. I mean, when they first came out, they were the best thing, and easily now they can be knocked off. And so it's, if it was me, and I did plenty of research before I bought it, because obviously that's a lot of money to devote to it. And there was Pit Bosses out then.
Yeah.
It's just the idea of, I want to go from the manufacturer who started with it.
Yeah.
The duplicates, like the Pit Boss, are not identical.
Yeah.
They look the same. They got the same idea, but again, there's a lot of things wrong with it too. And
I'm notoriously cheap, though. I think if I was gonna get one, I would go with a Pit Boss. Partly because I did do some research on it. It does seem to be made by a reputable company. It doesn't have the same warranty, but it does. I mean, I've looked at them in store. Well, you're right. I mean, it's probably not going to last as long, but it might at the same time. You never know.
I mean, if you take care of it, I mean, anything will last. But at the same time, I mean, it's one example of a bad thing is it has a slider where your drip tray is. Mm-hmm. Well, that's for if you want to sear.
Right.
So on a Traeger, technically you can do a reverse sear. Mm-hmm. We can go on in depth to talk about it, but it's kind of boring. Theirs has a little slider that goes over the drip tray. Well, all that does is get your hopper full of grease, and then it's a pain to you're going to end up having an auger issue by sliding that tray over. It's right there's a design flaw that I think they thought they were ahead of. With it. I make steaks with mine.
You can sear them? You can get them hot?
Sear them just fine. Yep, I can get that up there. Some people say they can't get it over 500. I've never got to 500, but 450, 475, I've got it there, and it sears it just fine.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we kind of wanted to get into a little bit. So we talked about a little bit my grill being a charcoal classic Weber kettle grill, which I really like it. I've been getting into more of the different techniques, how you can alter the temperatures, and I'm going to be doing a brisket this weekend with the snake method, which we can get into.
Well, let's get into it. I mean, what is
for a brisket?
For your brisket, what did they tell you on Google?
On YouTube?
Yeah. What did YouTube tell you?
So, with a brisket, low and slow, right? Low temperature, slow cook times. So you got to take your time with it. And that's always been kind of the tricky thing to do on a charcoal grill. I think a lot of people, they fill it with charcoal and light it, and you got this immense heat and red hot charcoal is going. So the method is what they call the snake method. You line up a row of charcoals, or a couple of rows stacked a couple high, in an arc around the edge of your kettle. And without getting too far into it, you basically light some coals on one end,
Indirect heat it,
and it indirectly,
right.
and it slowly lights those coals in that arc, and it just moves its way over. That's the snake. It's snaking across that arc, and so it never gets. And I've done it a couple times already, but only for like 2 or 3 hours at a time. So a smaller arc of coals, and it stayed right at 250, 255 the whole time. So it definitely worked. And then you can get it a little hotter if you need it with the vents, or cool it off to 225, choke the vents a little. That's my plan.
See,
it's pretty simple.
Traeger's a lot easier. I
know.
Traeger, you're not
You turn the knob to 250.
Well, no, you fire it up. You got to get it to smoke first. And literally, if you got the time, you set it on a smoke setting right away. It's not really, it's cooking at 110 degrees, but that's not really cooking,
right.
What that's allowing you to do is get that infused smoke flavor in it, whatever you're using, hickory, whatever your flavor is.
Yeah, you would be putting, say, wood chips or wood chunks on the coals in the snake method.
Correct.
To get your smoke with
but you got to keep feeding that for a while, because it doesn't burn the same way as a wood pellet, because it's constantly giving that flavor.
The pellet itself is giving you that smoke.
Right.
Yep.
So once you do that for, let's say you do it for an hour, the rest of the time you just turn the dial to where you want, 225, and as long as you got pellets in that hopper, you've got no issues.
I know. It sounds super easy. I was very tempted to get one.
My first brisket, I love brisket, and I did it, and I was worried that it was going to dry out. I was worried all this. Like, I'm used to I had a smoker before, an electric one, where you had to put a pan of water in it, or apple juice in it, whatever you want to put, but you had to feed it with its, the wood chips you wanted for flavor for the first hour or two, which is a pain. And then you turn it on, you let it go, and you set a timer, and you hopefully check your probe later on. The problem with that is those probes don't know, the exact time or when to pull it off. So I didn't like it, but when I did on the Traeger, it was perfect. Cut against the grain, and it came out looking just like it came up from a restaurant. So for the money you're spending, $30 on
at least
you're feeding probably a whole restaurant off of one brisket that you do at home.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I've got it all planned out the night before, the morning of.
Are you going to marinate it? Are you going to rub it?
Rub.
You gonna rub your meat?
I'm gonna rub my meat.
All right.
Rub it out. I'm gonna go Texas style, so salt and pepper. I might do the mustard, like coat it in mustard just to get the rub to stick, but I think it would stick anyway. But I've done some other stuff with that mustard rub, and it's good. I'll do that probably the night before, let it sit, get it out in the morning, probably put a little more rub on it, and then while it's settling to room temperature, get the grill started, balance out that temperature, and then throw it on there. If
it was me, honestly, I would start it at like midnight.
Well, so I've seen, a full pack, I think a packer is what they call it, is the flat and the point, and you can get, a really big 15, 18 pound brisket, but here, the meat market here in town only sells the flat.
Right.
And so I actually called him and spoke with a gal up there, and she said she's seen it anywhere from 4 to 8 pounds. So it's not going to be big enough to give me, like, I'm not going to have a 16-hour smoke, I don't think.
So you're about an 8-hour smoke?
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start it around 7 or 8 in the morning, and then hopefully, mid-afternoon be done.
That's the key to it is
I'm going to wrap partway through.
Pour some beer in it, honestly.
Yeah.
When you wrap it, I would make it like a volley and take a half a can of beer, pour it in there while it's in there, and
I was thinking of doing apple juice.
Yeah, if you're
I've
a
heard of
sissy.
people doing whatever. I've heard of people doing beef broth, but that just seems like cheating. Like you're trying to get a juicy beef flavored chunk of meat, and so you pour beef flavored juice into it. Like that's just seems like.
See, to me, I do ribs,
weird.
and the rib method that Traeger is known for is a 3-2-1. So 3 hours you throw it on there, 2 hours you basically wrap it and do whatever, and then the last hour it's got a glaze of barbecue sauce, and you're good to go. I never use that method. No. I use probably about 2 or 3 hours of what I've wrapped it in or what I rubbed it in. Then I take it off, I wrap it, I do make a little valley in it, but I keep the crown, you know, basically leave it arched, pour a half a can of beer in there, then I let it sit on there for about another 2 more hours. After those 2 hours, that stuff's already falling apart, put some sauce on it, and let it bake on there for maybe 30 minutes, and you're done.
I do want to do some ribs. I talked to you about it a couple weeks ago. We were both going to go get some ribs, and I don't think either of us did.
No. But, sounded good, but I didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah, got busy. Well, I'm looking forward to it. This Saturday I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about having my wife and daughter. Yeah, you're not getting the invite.
No.
Help document it. So definitely going to do photos, but I might try to video it, and then if so, put it on YouTube on the podcast channel. So
there you go.
That'll be our first live video if I can do it. We'll see. But
it's
yeah,
be boring for 8 hours.
Well, it won't be an 8-hour video, but the highlights.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be the first big thing I've done. I've done obviously steaks and pork steaks and bratwurst and whatever, but I have yet on the grill to do ribs or brisket. So I'm looking forward to both of those.
See, that's where I'll give you the edge on the Weber.
Yeah.
Because if you do burgers on a Traeger, it turns out great, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you don't flip it. When you come to hot dogs and bratwurst,
right,
it's not the plump. It doesn't plump up. It actually shrinks because of that, the way it does it. So is it good? Yeah, but when you're used to biting into a brat and having that, that boiling point of you can see the juices in there boiling, on a Traeger, it does the opposite. Almost like it microwaves it.
Yeah.
Because it actually makes it a little bit tougher. So
the other thing that I think would be tough to do on a Traeger, a buddy of mine, man, he can cook an entire meal, veggies and potatoes and meat and everything on his Weber kettle grill.
You can do it on a Traeger.
Yeah, but I mean, how are you getting like hot spots and cool spots? And
because
I'm gonna set this
there is
here
hot
and
spots and cool spots in a Traeger. Closer to the spout is hotter.
Yeah.
Up front, and there's so many different ways to do it. People on a Traeger, this is no BS. I've been to many shows where I've seen them demoed. People are making s'mores on it. They're baking a pie on it, and they're cooking meat on it all at the same time. It sounds like it's impossible, but when you actually divulge into the whole process,
the idea is that in this chamber you're getting this consistent temperature.
Correct.
So then it seems like it'd be hard to get 350 here
you can do
and
cookies
150 there. Yeah.
I can actually make you a frozen pizza in there. And you'll never know that that's a frozen pizza other than the fact that you see a label in a trash can or if I tell you, because it tastes that good.
Well, you got me intrigued.
Not enough to buy one.
No, I'm telling you, I almost did. They were almost the same price, and I was like, man, should I get the Pit Boss? Should I get the Weber?
You just
I
sold
really
out.
was close to getting the Pit Boss, but the Weber has a 10-year warranty, and the Pit Boss had a 1-year, and that's really what it came down to.
Well, at least you didn't get the Pit Boss. I think you'd have been maybe a little disappointed.
I still might someday get one. I don't know.
No, you'll just buy a Traeger. I'll get you a deal on one.
Yeah, give me a deal.
40% off or something like that.
We got into a little bit of the cuts of meat, with brisket and the flat and the point and stuff. But what are your kind of favorite meats to cook on a Traeger?
Honestly, it's not I don't know what kind of listeners you have. We know we have the pork steaks here in the Midwest.
Tens of thousands.
I know. 3 that's listening right now. Anyway, pork steaks is a favorite just because I get now normally in a regular grill when I used to grill, I never would get anything normal than the normal cut. But on a Traeger, I get the thick cut. And when that comes off, it's almost probably 1.5 inches. And it does not shrink as much as it does on a grill. Plus, you don't get the burn spots. That charred. Some people love the charred.
Like the char.
See, but you can do it. You just throw it to the back a little bit and it'll char it. Other than that, ribs are the number one favorite because they come off the rib comes out. Like I had to use 2 pairs of tongs to try to get it to come off without ripping it and tearing it apart.
Because it was so tender.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you do like a big pork butt or shoulder or something?
Oh, yeah. Those are good.
Pulled pork or something?
Yeah. I mean, but you can, honestly, any kind of smoker does those good. The thing about a Traeger is it just keeps that consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if you keep that hopper full, you have no issues. But when it comes down to the prep work. It comes down to injecting it, rubbing it. Obviously use a mustard base and then put whatever rub you decide to put on there. So rub your meat is definitely important. I'd pretty much say that you got a consistency with anything you cook on a Traeger when it comes to a meat. Now when it comes to like a side item like a hot dog or a brat, it's a shrinking process. Yeah. It's not a plumping out like you see on a regular Weber grill, so to speak.
Yeah, we do a lot of brats, which is a quick process. So I don't know how hot or how long it takes to get hot enough to like char some brats or sear them, but on a Traeger. So I don't know.
Well, the cool thing about the Traeger is on a regular grill, and I know your wife does this. She likes to boil them first because that way she knows they're cooked. Yeah. On a Traeger, they're cooked because it does shrink down. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't shrink enough, but at the same time, it shrinks and that thing's done. It doesn't have that boiling point like you see on a typical grill like a Weber, where when you see it boiling, it's been boiling for a while. Let's pop a little hole in it, let it squirt its juices. No, on a Traeger, it's pretty consistent. I can know when to pull them off by just looking at it.
Now, have you figured out you've used it plenty? Do you know how long you get out of a hopper?
No, I don't, because it depends on temperature.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like, if you're slow and low, that'll run for a while. If you're cooking something super hot like a pizza, I'm cooking at like 400 degrees, but I've never had an issue where I've ran out of the pellets and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I mix my pellets. I never stick with the typical flavor. Yeah. I mix like a cherry with hickory to give it that cherry hickory flavor. So that's the fun with it too, where you're messing with raw wood, hoping to get that flavor in it. Yeah. And if you don't soak it long enough, like on a Weber, you got to soak that in water to get that.
I don't know. I keep hearing a bunch of people say don't soak it.
Yeah, I
when
think
you soak it, you get the dirtier smoke. It doesn't heat up as much or as quick.
Yeah, I think it's an opinion thing. It was when I did when I had my electric smoker, I tried it dry. It didn't burn very well. When I got it wet, it burnt longer, and that smell would actually, I could smell it coming through the top of the smoker. So,
yeah, I've done that. I've had the chips soaked, but I don't know. I'm going to do it not soaked this weekend and see how it goes.
Well, I should buy one too, and we should do it on Traeger, and then we can have a taste test and see which one actually.
Okay, I'm going to go up there.
Blind testing it.
Either tomorrow night or Friday after work. I'm going to go.
Same place.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Schneider's?
Uh-huh.
All right.
So we wanted to segue a little bit from just talking grills and get into some of the other kind of man products. Somebody referenced, or somebody sent me an email. You guys should do a podcast about man products. I don't know if that's like hair gel, but they specifically mentioned the Yeti coolers, which I cannot believe how much people spend on these coolers. It just boggles my mind. I get it that they work and they they keep your ice frozen for a week or whatever, but it's just crazy. $200, $300, $400, maybe more on the big ones.
Well, they got a coffin.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. I could fit in it. I've actually laid in one, and they're like
it's creepy.
$1,800.
Oh my god.
I honestly have a lot of experience with it. I work for a company that reps different things for hardware chains. Mm-hmm. So I go to all these hardware conventions for Ace, True Value, and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeti had the market with the coolers early on. These 2 college kids, to kind of sum it up real quick how they did it, they wanted a cooler for themselves. They made one that was indestructible. Friends wanted it. They decided, all right, let's try it.
Right.
They went ahead, and it took off like crazy. They couldn't even keep up with the idea. They patented it, got it going. Everybody did it. Took one country singer to put it in a song, and the whole world was going Yeti crazy. Mm-hmm. The problem is the patent wears out. The kids didn't do their homework.
Right.
And now you've got, obviously, competitors now.
Yeah.
Are they the same? 100% the same.
Really?
Same insulation. Now, granted, if you look at some things like DeWalt, which is known for tools, do they have one? Yeah. Is it the same? No. But when you're looking at brands like Pelican, when you're looking at Orca, same material, different
and less expensive, or
it depends. They can be right on par because that's the MAP pricing right now. If you're looking at a cooler that will hold a 12-pack, they're going to keep them around the same price because if Yeti's getting it, they want to be right there. Now, I don't know what their cost involves, as far as how much it costs to make one. But the tumblers went the same way. The problem with Yeti on the tumblers is they didn't patent those. Therefore, Walmart sells.
I was going to say, is it Ozark Trail or something?
Yeah,
that's like
Walmart's got
everybody
an Ozark
says
one.
It's exactly the same, and it's a lot cheaper.
But if you ask me on those, I have one that's made by Orca. I got it at the trade show, and it's awesome. It's badass. It will do a long neck. It'll do a can. It'll be a shot glass. It does all this in one. So I like the novelty idea of that because it can do everything. So if I go somewhere and they have bottles, I'm good. If they have cans, I'm still good because, and if I'm going to do a shot, I can measure my own shot out.
And that's an Orca.
It's called a
Tumbler
Rocket.
or whatever. Oh, Rocket. Okay.
Yeah. It's called a Rocket by Orca.
Check it out.
Check it out,
folks.
It's cool.
So what is the target market for somebody that wants their ice to stay frozen for a week? What the fuck?
I'll tell you what. It's bullshit. It's a name. It's, do you want Winner's Choice shoes from Walmart or do you want Nike? A cooler to me, I have no place for it. Do I want one? I think just because it might say Yeti, but I really don't want it.
Yeah.
The bags I do like. They have these bags that you can actually fill up and the zipper doesn't leak. But personally, I don't need something cold that long. If I go to somebody's house, I can buy a styrofoam cooler from the local Schnucks and put ice in it, and it will stay cold all day into the next day.
I mean, I guess if you're going on a week-long float trip or something, or camping.
A hunter that wants to, he's going out for a week or something like that, a fisherman who's going out, a camper, like I said again,
which
that's
I can see,
ideal.
It just seems like a limited group of people that is needing that, yet it's your weekend tailgaters that like, check out my new Yeti, it'll keep it cold all day.
And I can stand on it
so
forever.
does my $30 cooler.
Right. But they can stand on theirs. So you can't stand on your $30 cooler. You're going to break
able
it.
to stand on it.
Yeah. It's a gimmick. I mean, does it work? Yes. Does it keep it as cold as they said it did? They all keep it cold.
And I've seen this, apparently all these big coolers like this have, what do they call them? Bear ratings? Like whether or not a bear can get into your cooler.
Right.
That's a thing, I guess, when you go camping.
That's how Yeti was started with. Their infomercial had some bear just trying to destroy their cooler because they had food in it. He smelled the food. He tried to tear it up. He could not get it open. And
I saw something that said the Pelican was the only bear-proof latches or something like that.
So why do they call it a Pelican then? Why do they call it a bear?
Right, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, call it the Grizzly or something. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. And I guess, I'm just a cheap bastard. I've got a cooler I bought recently. I think it's a Coleman or maybe an Igloo. I don't know. It's a nice, regular cooler from Walmart that has wheels and handles and it keeps stuff cool. But I guess if I needed to keep it cool for a week, it would fail me miserably. And
you just got to buy ice. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, how much is ice? And think about, me personally, I don't camp.
Right.
I go floating once every 7 years, if that's the case, and I have no need for it. If somebody gave me a Yeti, it would be sitting in my garage.
Right.
Personally, I don't need a cooler that's going to keep my shit frozen but it works great. I've talked to somebody who has one. They say they go travel, and they put all the frozen food at the bottom or at the top, and all the other stuff down below, and it keeps everything cold. They can go a whole week.
Yeah.
But they're reverse pulling things out. But they got to keep the lid closed real quick, and it works great. But again, I don't have no desire. Maybe those guys that sell meat out of the back of their trucks, they need that coffin one. But I have no need for a cooler that's going to keep it cold, and it's not that big. You look at those grills,
right?
Look at them.
They look massive, and then you open it, and it's
There's
a
so
third
much
the size. Yeah, it's all insulation,
It's totally that way.
which makes sense. I mean,
But yeah,
to be that
you're
insulated.
still spending $2.99 for a small one,
right?
and then you got to put ice in it, or they're little cube they have. Well, now you can get maybe a 6-pack in it. Here's my 6-pack. That cooler cost me
you gotta get it.
$400.
Yeah, it is crazy how much they cost. But you're gonna see more and more of them, and I'm sure, like you were saying, there's gonna be more competitors, and the price will come down as they're
already on the way down. And again, I got trade shows coming up in next month, and I'll see them. Another competitor be in there, and eventually they'll all be coming down. They'll still be in 100 range, just because that's where the market is on it.
I think you said of the ones you've seen, you like the Orca too on the coolers.
I like the Orca, because I like the way the pull downs are. They're kind of like the Yeti. I know you said Pelican had a cool locking mechanism on it. Any cooler that has a drill out hole and they sell you a lock set for it, it's retarded. I mean, there's no reason to have...
Somebody could break in. Or a bear.
Where's your cooler at?
A bear could get in. You better put
a
padlock
on it? I mean, they got holes designed and a cable they sell. It's an accessory they sell, and they make money off of a padlock because it says Yeti on it or it says Orca on it.
Yeah.
So it's like the tumblers. There's cheap ones you can get at Walmart. It'll keep it just as cold as it... I mean, if you think about all the work you had to go into it, you already have that beer drunk. Or drink. Yeah. That's the correct word there.
Do they have... Is there any kind of like koozie type thing for...
Yeah.
Is that what you were talking about with the Rocket or whatever?
The Rocket has a koozie cup that's made of stainless steel. It's got a tight seal around a rubber gasket around the top that keeps it cold.
But you're literally dropping a can into it, and you're not pouring into it.
It's a tight
right?
fit. Yeah. You're not pouring into it. No, you're putting it in like a can koozie like that here. What's deceiving about them, and the same thing with this Rocket, if I have a long neck in there, I drink way more because that thing is already heavy. So you gauge how much alcohol.
You got more left? Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, you will get drunk fast with those because they're heavy. You know, and when you're drinking, it's like, oh, there should be more in there.
We need those here in the studio.
Yeah, let's go get it real fast.
It's intriguing. It boggles my mind what people will spend on stuff like that. And I guess, you could say the same thing about anything else. Studio equipment or musical gear or car stuff, whatever. Some people would never spend money on that.
Lawnmowers.
Right. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, we won't even go to lawnmowers.
Maybe we should get into lawnmowers.
What the hell? I spent $400 and something on a lawnmower that my yard is not even a
fucking all-wheel drive, self-propelled, push mower. I use the term push loosely because you barely have to touch it. And your yard is like
no hills,
10 by 20 in the front.
It's a small yard, and it's all-wheel drive, and I engage it though. I mean, all-wheel drive does get used sometimes, just because I'm getting tired.
You got the flattest yard in town, the smallest yard in town,
and I got an all-wheel drive Husqvarna that Jesus. It was way too expensive, but
you love it, right?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
But what is there not to love? I mean, it does it for me.
I know.
All I got to do is guide it.
Starts right up.
It starts up every time. One pull. Can't beat that.
Yeah. So my daughter has begun very recently, mowing our lawn, partly just to get the money for it because we pay our kids to mow our lawn. And she claims she can't start the mower. So I went out there today and I'm, showing her how to do it. Of course, she knows how to pull on a cord with a handle.
Right.
But she's all like, oh, I can't do it. And she just barely tries at all. You can see her just...
The body's moving, but the arm's not moving.
Yeah. And then she about gives up, like, even mowing at all. I can't do it. I'm like, you're not even trying. And it's not hard. Like, I barely have to put... If you get it cranked at all, it's going to turn over and start. And I'm just like, you're fucking kidding me.
Hey, it's about the money. If you pay her more, she'd probably fire it right up on the first time. If you pay me more,
show up with your Husqvarna.
Yeah, pull it up and get some use out of that hill out of the backyard there.
Yeah.
It's a shame your son's going to be giving that up, though.
I know. He's been doing it reliably for 4 or 5 years now. But he's going to be moving on. Hopefully not anytime soon. He's welcome to stay with us for as long as he wants.
He's bailing.
Yeah, I know.
He's making money now. He's like, screw living at home.
Yep.
I don't want rules. I don't want a boss.
Hey, he wants free food and
well, he'll still come and get
car
that.
insurance.
He'll be asking Mom, what's for dinner? Pizza. All right, I'll be over there.
I'll be there. She'll make it for him. So, this isn't really summer talk, but we can get into it on the air a little bit.
Yeah.
So your son is in high school, but he's starting this special program for smart kids.
I know,
where
it's
he's
crazy.
going to college, right?
Yeah, it's a new thing they started a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you take a test. You got to have a GPA at a certain level, and they say go to college. I mean,
so he's going to spend his last 2 years of high school as his first 2 years of college, right?
Correct. Yep. He will basically be a college student and a high school student.
Mm-hmm.
The perks of it is he gets the college life, and he gets the sports life of high school.
Let's hope he doesn't really get the college life.
Well, as much as you can get it from a community college.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, he's not
it's
going
not a
to
university of, something fun and cool.
Yeah.
But he'll have an associate's degree and a diploma at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he gets to still be on the, the football team. And
yeah, that's what's funny is like, when you say, oh, my nephew or your son is, he's in this special program for smart kids to go to college while they're in high school. It's like, oh, what a nerd.
Right.
And he is, I guess. Gets good grades, but
Maybe.
he's like super cool. He plays all the sports. He's the Mr. Popular. Everybody likes him. He's, great kid. But he's going to have his associates when he graduates high school.
He must have took after his dad. You know?
Right.
Yeah. It's funny. We actually, not that long ago, pulled out a report card from, hell, I don't know what it was, 6th grade or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher was stupid back then. School was stupid back then. The report card.
No, it's not, kids. Stay in school.
Back then,
Don't do drugs.
I did say back then.
Get off the
I didn't
Juul.
do drugs at all, and we didn't have Juuls. We had regular cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. So we pulled out a report card. I think it was 5th grade or 6th grade or something. And it was funny about it is, it was full of C's. Well,
in 6th grade,
I say
you're
full.
such a slacker.
I say full. A couple C's.
Couple D's.
We had E's back then.
Yeah,
which
there
is
were
weird.
no F's. It was E's.
Yeah, so E's, and I'm not lying. It was shit. It was the worst grades. Like, I should have been, but on the bottom, and it shows all 4 quarters. Like a lot of D's, a lot of E's, and it says at the bottom, moves on to the next grade. It's like, are you kidding
Barely,
me? Why in the hell did you move me on to the next grade? Now, granted, I didn't want to be held back. I mean, that'd have been stupid.
You didn't have all E's.
I know. I guess you could have all E's back then, but now it's a little different. Now, my rules, though,
You were a slacker.
I'm strict.
You weren't dumb. You were just a slacker.
I was a slacker. Yeah, totally not dumb. But
I know. You're so hypocritical. You're so hard on your son to
and my daughter
to get good grades. I guess I see it more with him, but yeah.
Well, that's because he's older and he's actually doing this. But yeah, I mean, my rule
You're
is
so strict about it, yet you were such a slacker in school. You got such terrible grades. Hypocrite.
It's not a hypocrite. It's
It
called
is.
Daddy don't want to pay for college. That's what that is.
Well,
I'm smart. It's a business move. It's like, you want me to pay for your select sports?
if I was your kids, I'd be sending you photocopies of that 6th grade report card every day.
I got them posted. I mean, they can look at it anytime they want. The deal is, though, if you want me to pay for your sports, which is, it's not a have to. You don't have to play sports, especially select sports. That's crazy money. Get straight A's.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it's kind of been, got them going with, cheerleading the same way with my daughter. She wants to play cheerleading or do cheerleading. She's got to do the same thing. And she's already on board. She wants to keep that same thing going and do the same thing Tyson's doing. And when he gets when she gets older. So
yeah.
It's a good opportunity. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I know Tyson takes a lot of razzing for it from his friends because they're like, dude, you're missing the best years. Like, best years are what? I mean, high school is not, the best years are, I guess, your junior and senior years because you feel like you're an upperclassman and you get to walk the halls and, oh my God, you are a junior now, you're a senior. But sports-wise,
he's still going to come back and participate in all the high school sports.
Yeah, he can go to the dances. He
Be
can go
the
to
star
prom.
football player and the star baseball player and all
He
that.
ain't the star, but he plays on
he
the varsity
is.
level, so
Whatever. He's the star.
he don't get to
He will be the star.
miss that stuff. So
Yeah. That'll be great. I mean, you'll look back at after high school and he's going to graduate college in 2 years.
yeah, he'll have an associate's degree, and then hopefully scouts are looking at him for maybe some
Sports,
kind of
yeah.
sports, and scholarships will come flying because of the fact he's already got 2 years done. So that's going to help him on the academic level. So I don't know. I mean, what? You can't do anything wrong. I mean, right now.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet deal.
You got to get your kids on board with that.
Oh, whatever. Well,
yeah, your daughter.
I was gonna say it's too late for my son. Yeah, I don't know what she's gonna do. She doesn't know either. She's gonna complain about noisy eaters.
See, I'm with her. She needs to move with me because I can't stand noisy eaters.
You're not as bad as she is.
No, but
she'll throw
it's
a bottle at you if you're not paying attention and eating a chip.
That's a big pet peeve. It's like, why your mouth don't need to be open whenever you're chewing it. It needs to be closed.
It doesn't matter. I can have my mouth closed.
Your mouth is hollow. It sounds like you guys are. Believe me, I obviously was married to your sister. She's got a cave in there. She can close her mouth, and I can still hear it, like the echo. It's like, oh my God, get away from me! You're eating something crunchy. No cereal anymore. No chips in the house. So,
I guess I don't know. You guys are
it's
weird.
Your family. It's your family. It comes from your genes.
It does. Well, we've bored our fans enough with talking about grills and coolers.
Yeah, they're ready for Joe and Ryan to come back. They're like, this dude is so lame.
Start rapping and
I got no raps for him, and I don't have the deep voice of Ryan, so I can't talk really deep.
But we're glad you came in, filled out an episode.
No, that's cool.
I think a lot of people are interested in this stuff. It's not for everybody, but there's plenty of grillers out there and people interested in the Traegers, and so I think it's cool stuff. But
yeah, I mean, if it's redundant from what you've talked about in the past, I'm sure they'll be letting you know that. Why have that dude in here again talking about Traeger grills and Yeti coolers? And don't do that again.
We'll get you in with the follow-up after we both do a brisket this weekend.
That's right.
See if it turned out better.
We got to do a secret taste test. Maybe they'll be back by then. We can bring them in and have them taste it out.
Well, as usual, fuck the Cubs.
Yes, sir.
Until next time, I'm Jared.
I'm Bill.
And get a load of this.